Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche pregame show presented by Coors Light. We got Rudo and Big E coming to you live as the Avs are on the SEGABABA in California, this time taking on the Anaheim Ducks after winning the other night against the San Jose Sharks. It is a back-to-back situation, so Scott Wedgwood will be in net, and Yuri Inola will actually be making his debut this time in for Giovanni Smith. Giovanni, I keep adding an O to his name, my fault. Look, all of the things that always apply when it comes to SEGABABAs apply here. You're expecting the Avs to maybe not have the best legs. You also took a third period comeback last night, so things might even be more amplified there. The good news is San Jose to Anaheim is not that far of a trip for the boys, so the travel shouldn't be that bad. It's not LA to Anaheim, but it's not that far. Realistically, do you expect the Colorado Avalanche to win tonight? Let's start there.
And I just want to add one thing, and I know Riker was talking about it last night at the end of the game when all those ice things were going on, and there is a curfew in San Jose Airport. You know what I mean? And I've seen it. It's happened to me many times where it goes to overtime, and then you got to get on the bus, and then you got to divert the plane to Oakland or whatever it is, or San Francisco, and it's a pain in the butt. So hopefully that didn't that. I forgot to check in this morning and find out from the guys there what was going on. But hopefully they were able to make it. But I expect. I think that, like I tell you guys, the Avalanche are. You told me that last year actually, and I never realized it, that they're so good on back-to-backs. You know what I mean? And that's never been an issue. And I'm not worried like the other day on the tail end of a 3 and 4, and you have it double compounded, whatever you want to call that, with the back-to-back and the 3 and 4. This is just a couple days in between actually, and but it's I expect the Avalanche to feel good about their game. I expect the Avalanche to have even more trust in their goaltending situation. You know what I mean? Like I think Wedgwood had come in and done that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Where all of a sudden you do your job, you're one of the guys, and you prove your worth to the teammates. And then last night was up to Blackwood to really do that, and where he was clearly better than the guy down the ice from him. So I expect a little bit more tonight of the same, where they're going to go at it, and you have to win those games against the Anaheim Ducks, against the San Jose Sharks, and that's the predicament they're in from the start of the season, and you have no choice but to come out victorious tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a choice, but you start to feel a lot better about the Avs heading towards the Christmas break if they can win tonight, make it 2 in a row here. I don't want to say right the ship, because I don't think we're in that situation with the Avs. I don't think they need to right the ship necessarily, but they do need to start stringing wins together at some point. This is a team that should be capable of doing it. Even with a Wedgwood and net, even if you do have some guys in flux in your bottom 6, your best players should be able to show up for you and get you through tough games like what tonight could be. With that being said, the Ducks are not exactly a top team in the NHL or anything like that. They are a beatable team. The Avs have already played them once this year. Eric, I guess I want to ask you, if you're looking at the Avs' top 3 players, who do you think it's most important has a quality game tonight? Because we saw at times some of their top players didn't play great last night, and they ultimately came through. But is there one of them you would really like to go wire to wire tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to have, for me, it's Mikko. I thought he'd been really good this past month. Obviously gaining a hat trick, some accolades like Player of the Week or Second Star of the Week in the NHL, whatever he was. But I do believe in a game like tonight. I think MacKinnon for the most part can go dormant a little bit. And again, that's such a big word. We talked about it. It's funny. It's like 6 points in 7 games, and we call that dormant. For a lot of guys, that's like 3 months worth of work. But for Mikko, I do believe that when he goes sleepy a little bit, he really goes sleepy. You know what I mean? And that's his makeup. And I'm not asking for his head. I'm the one guy that said you don't trade a guy like that because you chase them for the next 10 years. You know what I mean? They don't come, they don't grow on trees. They are a part of your makeup, and they're is a big part of the Avalanche. I just like the way he's been playing, the last few weeks. I just didn't like it yesterday. I didn't feel he had a lot of jump. Was he a little bit sick? I don't know. Again, we talked about it. It's rampant. It's through their dressing room. Was he one of them? He looked gray at times on the bench for me. And that's why I'm like, is it, I just, again, I just want him to be at the top of his game tonight, because it's like, okay, maybe it's just a one-off yesterday, and then you get back into the swing that he's been, and I don't want him to keep it up and make it, what do we call it? 4 is a string, right? Or whatever it is. 4 is a streak, right? You know what I mean? So I think you just, yeah, 3 is a streak. So you were at 1 yesterday, and it's like, okay, don't make it 2. You know what I mean? Because now we're going to start questioning it. You know what I mean? So I think that's the guy I'm more focused on tonight, and I'm just hoping that, that was a one-off yesterday, or that he feels better if he was not feeling good.
Let's move back to Wedgwood a little bit. He didn't have the best game for the Avs the other night, a sub 900. Or that's not the other night; it's like a week ago now. But his last game with the Avs, maybe not his best performance. Not that I'm particularly worried about that, but when you're looking at the few games Blackwood just played with super solid stuff, does that help Wedgwood? Does that energize Wedgwood? What's the realistic goal for Wedgwood tonight?
Well, I think if you go back to, what is it, 3 weeks ago now, to the trade of Scott Wedgwood. I mean, forget about Blackwood, and again, it's so confusing. But Wedgwood, when he comes to the Avalanche in the fold, you knew they were going, again, remember, we all know deals happen and some take longer than others. And we all knew that was part. It's like last year when they did the 1 or 2 full, right? There was like something else happened before the Bayern Mittelstadt that we were like, oh, okay, this is all part of it, and it's always usually connected. So you knew they were going to go after Blackwood. Wedgwood fell before. Wedgwood was brought in to be a solid backup. That's why he was brought in. They felt that whether they liked Justus's his projection or where he was going to be, maybe, but they felt like today and towards the playoffs here coming up, Wedgwood was better suited for the Avalanche than Justus, and that's why they made that trade. They felt that he brings a veteran presence in the net. He brings a veteran presence in the locker room, and I think that a game like tonight is exactly why and the reason and the situation he was supposed to be put in. We all know that he came in, and then all of a sudden Georgiev struggled, and then the deal for Blackwood took a little bit longer. Next thing you know, he was playing, and then he was thrown in the Buffalo game, and then he played more than he was supposed to, and then they made the trade, and Blackwood was sick, and then he kept playing more and more, right? So Wedgwood is the backup, and he's a great backup, and I think he's going to thrive in that position, and I think you're going to see tonight that that's his job, to make sure that he is on top of it on a SEGABABA, and that's why he was brought in, to make sure that he gives his chance of his team a chance at winning the game tonight.
And it's important, I think, to do that, to continue for this goalie tandem to gain the trust of the Colorado Avalanche and the Colorado Avalanche coaching staff. This is a backup game. The Anaheim Ducks are the second worst scoring team in the NHL. The only team worse is the Nashville Predators right now. So this is not a team that should put up a bunch of goals on you. It's one that Wedgwood should be able to handle. It's one that the Avs need to help him lock it down tonight, in my opinion. Yeah, it's a back-to-back. Yeah, there are factors there. That's why you rely on your goaltender to make quality saves against a team like Anaheim, who is, frankly, bad. Maybe, honestly, probably a worse team than the San Jose Sharks this year. So,
well, yeah, they're trying to find themselves, right? And I think that Crow came in there last year, Cronin, and his coaching staff, and They're trying to implement the way he wants them to play, and a more structured game, a more defense first minded, like he did with the Eagles, like he learned from Bednar, like they tried to have a system where it was for down the highway, right? In Loveland or Denver, and try to have the same thing, and a guy like that, what I'm looking the Anaheim Ducks, and this is not a dagger towards Cronin and his staff. It just seems like they're trying to find themselves. It's been a couple years, but now since last year and this year, where all of a sudden there's structure, and there's and again, friend of the show Timmy Army, very structured person, assistant coach there with Cronin, and I do believe that right now it looks to be a little too much for the mighty Ducks. I keep saying the mighty Ducks. It seems to be a little too much for them, and then they're not reacting; they're just thinking. And I think that when you do that, it takes away from your offense, it takes away from your instincts, and I think that's what you're seeing right now for the Ducks.
I fully agree, and I should say the Ducks probably aren't actually worse than San Jose. They're significantly worse offensively, but the Ducks have a functional defense, so that probably makes them better than San Jose.
And good goaltending,
Gibson's been good since
Gibson's been good, and so it's you're right. I think it's more on the offensive side of things. They're thinking too much. I think on the defensive side of things with the goaltending, obviously they're doing just fine. It's more on the offensive side of things, like you said, that they're struggling to put the puck in the net.
Well, what are the Avs' 3 keys then, E, for a team that can play defense but not offense?
Well, I mean, we touched on it. The first one, it's just a regular SEGABABA. It's not a crazy one like I talk about all the time when it's the double bang of a 3 and 4 and a SEGABABA. That is tough. You got to see Utah Hockey Club in a couple of days there. I do believe when they visit the Avalanche, they're going to be on that type of SEGABABA, I believe, because I've been doing a little bit of homework like we usually do. But anyway, the Avalanche lead the league in those results, the last couple seasons, and just get after it. Don't change the mindset. Just get at it. Do what you did in the first and third period. We talked about it. I think if you haven't had a chance to look at Rudo's game recap there, I don't know how we call it, but make sure you go see it. And it's exactly what happened. I think it was well said, and it's lapses in the second period and maybe a little bit of lapses in the first. But other than that, it was more than fine. So tonight, let's just get after it like you've been doing, and carry it in from the third period on. Number 2, we just touched on it. The Ducks can play. They still have some good young guys. They have solid netminders, and they're well structured. So, like Rudo said, they might not come at you and have 38 scoring chances. But you're going to have to fight, and you have to earn your scoring chances, and they have some sort of a system, and it just hasn't all gelled together, from the back end to the offensive side of the puck. So tonight, don't take them lightly. Those Ducks can play. They have some good young players, and they're going to be a fun team to watch there on their way a couple years from now. And they're never, like I said, they're just on the fringe of 500 hockey, so they are really not bad at all. Number 3. Take the good, leave the bad. I go back to your review there. I mean, it's, it's just, the PP struck. And when it strikes, you have a chance to win. And that was the difference yesterday. The leads, we talked about it. It's been a lot of leads lately, which leads to a lot of, wins. Goaltending, we just talked about Wedgwood. And Wedgwood's going to have to be on his game tonight. He has to give his team a chance to win. He has to give us, like Blackwood did last night. But of course, I always tell you about the crappy ice and the good ice. Well, when you're a backup goaltender, you get the crappy ice. You get the tired team on a SEGABABA. You get the, like the guys not so on top of their game, because that's what it is. That's what being a backup is. So I think he has to do his job, get in there, and then just kind of close it out. And out, we want the bad habits. You said very nicely yesterday that the bad habits are starting to creep in a little bit. You want to put a nip in the bud there. You want to make sure that you don't have those little sleepy segments, maybe like 10, 12, 14 minutes where they're not really generating anything. And then all of a sudden they're generating a lot. You want to make sure that you're just generating, which is hard because the National Hockey League is a tough league. But you want to make sure you just try to generate a little bit more consistently instead of a lot sleepy, a lot sleepy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Find a
Yeah.
little bit more
Consistency is key for
consistency.
sure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Your phone was dropping a sick beat there. We're going to have you wrap the 3 keys next time.
What was that?
Your phone's vibration was like making a sick beat on the
Whoa.
mic. So you have to
Oh my
wrap
God,
the
I
3
didn't.
keys next time. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even see it. I didn't even see it ring. It's not. It's on
I
vibrate.
maybe it wasn't your phone. I assume it was your phone. I don't know.
Oh, I
Uh,
don't know. I don't have a missed call. Yeah.
it was
Sorry.
somebody's phone.
Well, I'm by
Anyway,
myself.
um, yeah, I love that you mentioned the power play on the third one. And look, the power play was good the other night, and it had a long stretch of being bad. We all know how important special teams are every single night, but that specifically special teams is even more so amplified when you're talking about a second game of a back-to-back. When you get into these, it's your opportunities are that much more important because you know you're going to get less of them tonight if it's a normal night, that you just won't be able to generate as much. And then the other side of that is it not necessarily your PK needing to come through, but more importantly, you cannot take the penalties you took the other night tonight. Your legs will burn out. If you have to penalty kill for 8 minutes of this hockey game, your legs will go.
And you're bang on that because you can take a penalty. I mean, again, you're defending a goal. It's an empty net. Like I got no problem with that. And you try to kill those penalties. But it's the unnecessary ones. It's the hook on the hands. It's the offensive zone penalties. It's the dumb little things. Those will be deadly, and they are always deadly, and especially where they happen on the ice. Is it in the offensive zone? Is it again? Those are deadly. Those are big no-nos. Are part of our no-nos here at DNVR. But if you're defending a goal, like sure, you know what I mean. It is what it is, and you can take it and you will kill it. But yeah, those can be those are the things you don't want to give on a silver platter to the other team on a SEGABABA.
Eric, I want to talk about the setup for the Avalanche, and you said take the good things. One of the things the Avs did really well in the first period of the game against the Sharks was second chance opportunities. Now, they didn't hit the net super well. They didn't convert on those opportunities, but they generated a massive number of shot attempts because they were tracking down pucks in the offensive zone. When you look at something like that, obviously it takes hard work to win puck battles, to go get pucks, to keep possession. But does that help the Avs get a little bit of a breather? If they can play like that tonight, can you spend a little bit more time in the offensive zone and control the puck? Is the energy expenditure to do that helping you conserve energy in the long run just because you're not chasing the play as much?
Absolutely, and I always remember you call the offensive zone the sandbox, right? The play land, and the defensive side of things. Don't ask me why. It's a known fact. You are just spent when you spend like a minute in your own end and you go back to the bench and you can't breathe and you can't think, and then your brain is like crying, and you can't, you don't know what to do, you don't know what to think. You go play for a minute and a half or 2 minutes in the offensive zone, you're absolutely having a blast. You are not breathing heavy. You are just like, are you kidding me? I'm gonna have to go change right now. You see guys change on the fly like during those sick possession times, and it's like, because you're like, oh God, I can't believe I'm doing this. We have him on the cable. Don't ask me why. Your brain just, nobody wants to defend. Nobody does. Nobody does. And in the offensive zone, it's the play land. But you got to be smart, and you want to make sure you're not. It's so hard to get the puck. Why would you give it away, right? And then just make sure you know how to manage it. You know how to place it into those open areas, and it goes a long way on a back-to-back where you can conserve your energy that way. Absolutely.
Yep. Just briefly for the chat, no watch along tonight. I promise they will be back soon, but I'm waiting on some equipment. So if we do have more remote shows in the future, I can do them from home. We also should be back in studio at some point reasonably soon too. So watch alongs will be coming back, but obviously some changes happening right now. So no watch along for tonight. Yeah, I already had you tell me Mikko for your star to pop out. Give me a depth guy to help the Avs produce tonight. Obviously, you got it from Kiviranta the other night, but you would really still like to see a couple of other guys in the Avs depth pick things up a little bit.
I was going to see if I could reach behind me, but I can't, or else it's going to be a debacle. I'm going number 25, my buddy there, Logan. Okay. I think we saw a little spurts the other day. It's coming back in pieces. it goes away a little bit. I think it's all expected when you have surgery of that nature. It's not the easiest thing to come back from. But I do believe, I think his mind is there. I think his play is there. He's just missing that a little bit of oomph, and I think he's just about to break through. And I'm going to go LOC tonight as my guy, and maybe you see some sort of a shorty from him. That would be nice because it's been a little bit there with his 3 consecutive last year, right? That was sick. That was unbelievable. We'll just take one tonight from LOC. Just one. Just one.
I don't know that I can ever bet on a shorty. That's always a tough ask for me on that front. I do like DJ's answer in the chat of Malinsky. He feels like a guy that's been close to putting the puck in the back of the net for a little while now. Would love to see him get one. For the actual depth, I usually am not picky with these types of things, but I think a guy who maybe deserves to be rewarded a little bit is Parker Kelly. I think he's been working pretty darn hard, especially over the last couple of weeks. And look, there might be a little bit of a lack of offensive ability here, but you do the right things consistently, and eventually you'll get one to go sooner or later.
Yeah, good young man. I really enjoy him. He's a very nice kid. I like playing trivia with him in the locker room. He's a hockey buff, you know what I mean? And nice. I really do. He works hard. He's on the right place. It's limited at times. I can relate. I get it. But you're right. You know what I mean? Maybe that's a good pick there. I like that. And during the holiday seasons, usually it's all about being nice, right? And this kid is a nice kid. He does the right things. And then hopefully by doing the right things, he gets rewarded. You know what I mean? And it's always fun. He's not counted upon to score goals, but it's always nice to score goals, and it's always making you feel pretty good. So, you know what? Let's make sure the hockey god's on his side tonight. He's a good kid, and he deserves one right now.
And I think we've been hard at times on the Avs' depth because of their lack of offensive production, but I think there is something worth noting tonight when you look at the statistics, particularly when you look at the statistics since the Mackenzie Blackwood trade for the Avs. So that is with their current goalie tandem over the last 2 weeks, I guess, not quite 2 weeks. You have Parker Kelly, Logan O'Connor, and Yoel Kiviranta as the Avs' best defensive forwards on the team. On a rate basis, they're all giving up just over 1 goal against expected per 60. So they've been pretty darn good as the Avs. The fourth line is a bit messy, right? Because there are guys that are kind of AHLers playing on that line. But the Avs' third line has been a lockdown defensive line for the past couple of weeks for the Avs. That's what you're asking out of your depth. You do need some scoring, but you also need them to be quality on the defensive end.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree with you, and I think that I've been saying this for a while now. They need to go on that 10-game stretch, and I think if you put everything that you just talked about, put it all together, and with the depth that you're talking about, this is a team, and now with the goaltending that's solid, I think they can go on that run. They really can. I do feel they're gonna get on that run, and when you go on a run like this that we're talking about, because they haven't done it yet, you need everyone. And you need your depth, like you're talking about. You need obviously, we know the big guys are going to be there. And you need your goaltending. And then you feel you're invincible because when something gives for a little bit, then the other parts pick up. And that makes a big difference. When you know that you can count on one another, it just makes you feel so much stronger going into each game. And then nothing phases you in a game, from a bad call to a tough stretch of 5-6 minutes or back-to-back goals where all of a sudden you're in control, 1-0 lead, and the next thing you know, 2 shifts later, you're down 2-1. You got to be able to sustain those things, and when everything is all together, it's no different than a shift when we talk about those 5-man units and being on the same page. It's the same thing. When everything is like an accordion, whatever you want to call that, then it just feels in sync, and you feel that you can attack, and especially with the Avalanche because they've been there. They've won a championship. They all know what to do. They all know how to react to things. And when you're on the same page like that, it can be deadly.
Yep. Appreciate Tiff in the chat shouting out the lines. You can look right down on that scroll at the bottom. It'll tell you what the Avs players who are in tonight. Let's get into my pregame picks, sponsored by Bet365, where they keep it never ordinary. I'm going to be honest for our pregame picks on this one. I'm not expecting the most interesting game in the world. I'm taking the under. I think I don't think the Avs can get into a shootout in this game and really expect to win. That's just how SEGABABAs kind of work. But I am expecting Eric's star to show up, and I took Mikko Rantanen for a power play point at plus 150. The Avs really would like to keep that power play going if they want to win. And then I took the Ducks under 3 goals. The Avs have done a very good job of limiting teams, certainly in their wins since acquiring their new goaltenders. They have really limited the goals scored by their opponents. So I think a low event kind of grindy game might actually be better for Colorado in this case. You don't want to get into wind sprints up and down the ice. Whatever you're betting on, make sure you do it with Bet365 and use the DNVR 365 code when you sign up. Of course, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado, and if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Let's get your score predictions, and let's go watch a fun hockey game.
God, we were close yesterday. We said 4-2, right? Did we say 4-1? I don't remember.
No, you said 4-2. You nailed it.
Whoa! All right. I'm going to go. Tonight I am going. I'm going to win. I'm going to win because I do believe the power play cashes in and it cooks again. You know what I mean? At least one makes things easier. I like Tiff's 5-2, and I'm going to stick to a 3-2 win tonight. I'm going to go with what you just said. I don't mind low event hockey tonight. I don't mind ugly, boring hockey tonight, honestly, because sometimes that's what you need to do. And this is one of those nights where you got to be simple, to the point, and make sure that you cash in at the right times and you make sure you get the big saves. And I'm going to go 3-2, Avalanche, good guys, big win tonight.
I'm going even lower. I'm going 2-1.
All right. I like that.
I think we're going to see Wedgie show out tonight. I think the Avs are going to be super structured defensively for the first time in a while and really lock things in on that side. And then, rely on your superstars and the opportunities you get for the Avs. We do have one super chat here from Irish for $10 who says, Friday night hockey, baby. Thank you very much for that, Irish. Hopefully it's a fun one and the Avs can make it an interesting Friday night. Looking forward to the game. I know the vibes have been weird lately for the Avs, but it's always fun that at the end of the day, I get to sit down and I get to watch a hockey game, win or lose. It's my favorite sport in the world. So enjoy it. Remember to enjoy it, even when it's not the best. That's all I got. Any final thoughts here?
No, I think you just said it, and I think it's important, and that's what sports are there for. The sports are that's what they're for. You know what I mean? And to assemble people together, and that's what we try to do, and that's what we'll keep trying to do. And tonight is no different. Let's enjoy it.
Exactly right. We are going to get out of here for this pregame show presented by Coors Light. Thank you for being with us. Again, I promise watch-alongs will be back soon, but not tonight. We will be live for the postgame, though, whatever happens, breaking it all down. So join us there, and we will talk to you after the game.
We all silly like the mayor.